All right, so today is day one of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And right off the bat, for the first ever match in this World Cup specifically, Mexico, one of three hosts, beat South Africa 2-0. Bro, South Africa had 2 red cards in this match alone, and Mexico had 1. And I'm like, this is literally the first opening match in World Cup history to have 3 red cards in it. You may as well call it the Battle of Mexico versus South Africa or something. Also, I cannot stress enough how important it is for Ochoa that he is going to be in the 2026 World Cup here. But in the match with Mexico versus South Africa, it was really kind of diabolical that he was on the bench the entire time, bro. He didn't even get substituted. They just put him on the bench, bro. But lucky for Mexico, Raul Rangel was a very pro goalkeeper at that, and he made way more than 2 saves, bro. I was there and I watched the World Cup from my PC. I was literally live streaming my commentary of the match on Kick, and I'm gonna download the VOD from Kickbot so that I can post it on YouTube, and God forbid that they flag it due to copyright. Today is day 2 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And starting off with the first of 2 matches here, South Korea beat Czechia 2-1, and at first, Czechia was winning 1-0, but South Korea were always dominant. And then Hwang In-bom, who is a South Korean player, he scored the equalizer for South Korea, and he assisted a new South Korean young super talents winner in this game to make South Korea win. And also, we have here a 1-1 draw between Canada and Bosnia and Herzegovina, the first draw of this World Cup. See, it's because for most of the time, Bosnia were winning because of a corner kick thing from Jovo Lukic in the 21st minute. But then in the 78th minute, about 20 minutes before the game ended, the Canadian Kyle Larin scored in the 78th minute. Canada were also very dominant when it came to shots in total, but Bosnia and Herzegovina had more shots on target. But for most of the stats, Canada did dominate, but they are the hosts, so it makes sense. Today is day 3 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First of all, yeehaw! Because here in the United States where I live, the United States beat Paraguay 4-1. Astonishing, isn't it? Bro, the first goal was an own goal from a Paraguayan player, but then for the first time, Balogun became the first player in this World Cup to score twice. So currently he's the top goal scorer, and eventually just ended up 4-1 with the last American goal scored by Giovanni Reina. And then second of all, we have a 1-1 draw between Qatar and Switzerland. And even though Qatar did host the last World Cup in 2022, this is the first time in this World Cup that they get 1 point because of a Swiss own goal that was almost a goal from a Qatari player to equalize late in the game. And you know who else who tied 1-1? My people, Brazil, bro. Initially, we were quickly 1-0 down due to the Moroccans, but in the 32nd minute, our Vinicius Jr. came in clutch in the 32nd minute and scored it so that Brazil get their first point of this World Cup, bro. Brazil, you better win the next 2 matches. I am one of your people, Brazilian American. Today is day 4 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First off, again in Group C, we got Scotland beating Haiti 1-0 because of a goal in the 28th minute by John McGinn. Probably the only win that Scotland will get, but it's their first goal in a World Cup since 1998. Next up, we also got Australia beating Turkey 2-0. Now, some people thought that Turkey with Yildiz and Arda Güler actually had chances against Australia, and boy, did they have most of the possession in the game, like over 70% of the possession. But Australia, they were the ones who got 2 goals, and honestly, I cannot blame them. Like, Turkey have not qualified for a World Cup since 2002 when Brazil won it, and Australia was in the World Cup consecutively since like 2014, no, before. 2014. Also, we got Germany thrashing Curacao. Now, obviously, I expected this, bro. Curacao, you're not winning the World Cup, but it is kind of miraculous that Curacao actually managed to get 1 World Cup goal, especially against the Germans, bro. Honestly, this scoreline does not remind me of anything at all. Do not insult or be racist to my people, the Brazilians, at all. And finally, Blue Lock Stars, Japan, and Orange Dutchman, the Netherlands, they both tied like 2-2. Today is day 5 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Ivory Coast beating Ecuador by 1-0 because of a late winner in the 90th minute by Ivorian soccer player Amad Diallo. Now, very good job, Ivory Coast. You probably deserve the win. And there were a lot of crossbar hits in the game when they try to shoot the ball. But my sister-in-law is from Ecuador, and I don't want her people to be upset. Second up, we got Sweden absolutely demolishing Tunisia by 5-1. This game probably had it all because the opposition scored 1 goal, but they didn't really win or have a chance anyway. And both Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres got goals for themselves in this match. Pretty epic. Third up, the most shocking result of the entire World Cup. Spain tied against the easiest target, Cabo Verde, in a 0-0 goalless draw, simply because Cabo Verde's goalkeeper, Vozinha, put up the performance of his lifetime. 40 years old, he was acting like Courtois against Liverpool for Real Madrid in the 2022 Champions League final. He was just unbeatable. And then also for the fourth match we got here, Belgium and Egypt tied 1-1. Egypt were actually kind of dominant in this match, with an Egyptian player scoring in the 20th minute, but Romelu Lukaku assisted and forced an own goal in favor of Belgium, and he forced it to tie the game. And then last but not least, can we stop having 1-1 draws? Uruguay and Saudi Arabia both tied 1-1, bro. All these games, we had a lot of games, and most of them were pretty much draws. You gotta stop drawing, and y'all gotta start winning. Today is day 6 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Oceania's only representatives at this World Cup, New Zealand, tying in a 2-2 tie against America's op, Iran, which was 2-2, obviously. The only goal scorer for New Zealand at this World Cup so far was Just. That's literally his name, by the way. Next up, we got Mbappe's France beating Senegal 3-1. Finally, something that's not a draw. And Kylian Mbappe, with the brace in this match, officially surpassed Messi's amount of World Cup goals. Like, Mbappe scored 14, Messi 13. He's tied 3rd place for the top World Cup goals of all time. Bro, he's a crazy goal scorer. Last of all, in the same group as France and Senegal, Norway beat Iraq 4-1. Bro, this is already the first match of Norway's World Cup so far, and Holland managed to score on his World Cup debut. Like, Norway haven't even qualified since 1998, and Holland already scored. And the only goal scorer for Iraq in this World Cup literally also scored an own goal for Norway, so I guess he was neutral. Today is day 7 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got a Messi hat trick from Lionel Messi. securing Argentina a 3-0 win against their opponents Algeria, even though Luka Zidane, the son of Zinedine Zidane, was Algeria's goalkeeper, bro. Because Lionel Messi got a hat trick, he is the joint top scorer of a World Cup all-time record, which means he has more goals scored at a World Cup than pretty much everyone else besides the German Miroslav Klose, because he has the same amount of goals in a World Cup as Lionel Messi. That's crazy. Next, we got the Austrian Painters beating Ramen Ox country of Jordan by 3-1. Bro, the YouTuber Ramo Ock was like, oh, we're not going to lose the World Cup, and you already lost your first match. Way to not remember that this is only Jordan's debut. Next up, Messi did something, but Ronaldo could not. Portugal tied 1-1 against stronghold Africans DR Congo. And João Neves did score a stunner, but so did someone from DR Congo, bro. And last but not least, we got British Busters and all the Wonder Kids of England beating Croatia by a 4-2 scoreline. That's about it. Today is day 8 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Ghana barely beating Panama by 1-0. This goal that you see right here was scored literally the last kick of the match, maybe. It was like the last few minutes and Ghana scored. Good for them. Next up, we got Colombia beating debutants Uzbekistan by 3-1. I mean, at least Uzbekistan have their first World Cup goal, but of course Luis Diaz also has his first World Cup goal, or at least I think he does. He probably didn't even join in 2018, but you get the point. And here at the start of the second match day of this World Cup, the Czech Republic and South Africa tied with a 1-1 draw. Seriously, we can't get enough of this, honestly. The first person to score was a Czech player in literally the 6th minute of the entire game. And then right towards the end of the game in the 83rd minute, South Africa were awarded a penalty, and Tobo Mokoena, the South African midfielder, converted it to equalize the game for South Africa, landing their first ever World Cup point since they hosted the World Cup in 2010. And right here we also got Switzerland beating Bosnia and Herzegovina 4-1. At least they got another World Cup goal, but this time they lost. And you know who else lost by a huge margin? Qatar. Canada literally beat them 6-0. And I thought this was going to be a close match. I knew Canada would win, but I thought they would barely win, bro. And now Jonathan David is the second ever player at this World Cup already to score a hat-trick right after Lionel Messi. Bro is really going to go on a redemption arc. I don't even know what he has to be redemption of, but 6-0? Oh my gosh. Today is day 9 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Mexico, one of the host nations, beating South Korea barely by 1-0 because of a goal by Romo in the 50th minute. And I actually saw this goal happen in real time last night while I was watching a bit of the game with my dad before I went to bed. And the keeper, the South Korean goalie, accidentally slipped up. So the Mexican keeper got to the ball and he kind of just kicked it right past the keeper and some of the defenders too. If you see the match, you'll know. Second of all, we have Yeehaw, the Americans beating Australia 2-0. First, Paraguay being their victims 4-1, and they won that huge time. And now beating Australia 2-0, well, just like Mexico, they are basically guaranteed a spot in the round of the 32. And last but not least today, we have Morocco barely beating Scotland by a 1-goal margin, like 1-0. And it was because of a goal in the 2nd minute of the entire game by Ismail Sabiri, the same guy who scored against Brazil in the last match Morocco played. And it's only him who scored in these 2 matches too. You know, I actually saw the later half of the match, this specific match, and Scotland were dominating. They just couldn't score. As of right now that I'm recording this, the Brazil match is in like 15 minutes or so. So I'm gonna go downstairs and into our backyard with the watch party so we can go watch it. Today is day 10 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Brazil, my people, beating Haiti 3-0. Bro, now we are definitely making it to at least the round of 32. This is amazing news, bro. Mateus Cunha scored the first 2 goals, and then Vinny Jr. also scored his second goal of the tournament, making it 3-0. Bro, Haiti stood no chance. I don't know why the Haitian fans were going so wild. Next up, we got Paraguay barely beating Turkey 1-0, completely eliminating Turkey from the World Cup knockout stage and the competition in general because of a goal in the second minute, and only because a Paraguayan player covered his mouth while speaking. He got handed a red card because of another incident tied to the Brazilian Vinny Jr. Then we got the Netherlands beating Sweden 5-1. Elanga being the only goal scorer for Sweden, bro. First, Sweden beat Tunisia 5-1. How do they lose 5-1 against the Dutch? Well, Swedish fans, Sweden is not winning the World Cup, as we can plainly see here. Last but not least here, we got Germany barely beating the Ivory Coast 2-1. At first, Ivory Coast were actually leading them 1-0 due to a goal by an Ivorian in the 30th minute. But then later in the game, a man called Undaf for Germany equalized in the 68th minute. And then towards the very, very, very end of the game, in like the 94th minute in general, he scored the winner. The same guy who equalized scored the late winner to get Germany an extra 3 points, and now they're top their group. Today is day 11 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, Curacao somehow tied with Ecuador 0-0. Ecuador had 15 shots on target, and they were so dominant, yet the goalkeeper for Curacao, make room for Eloy Room, he made a total of 15 saves. They literally lost 7-1 to Germany, and now they're out here tying 0-0 with Ecuador. I thought they were going to be bad, but no, they actually managed not to concede. And then next up, Tunisia's cooked, bro. The Blue Lock Stars Japan scored 4-0, and they won that much against Tunisia, pretty much eliminating Tunisia from the competition and securing both a draw and a win. They could also make another dark horse run. After that, we got another 4-0 win with Spain beating Saudi Arabia 4-0. You know who scored the first goal for Spain? Lamine Yamal. He's got his first ever World Cup goal, and it looks like if he keeps it up, there will be many more, and that there will be a very bright future ahead of him. And then next up, bro, Belgium's downfall from the 2018 World Cup to dropping points to both Egypt and Iran need to be studied, bro. I thought America's op Iran would struggle, especially on purpose, but no, they're really showing that they should fight. And then finally, one of the craziest things of all time, Uruguay somehow tied with Cabo Verde. Of all teams, bro, Uruguay did concede the first goal. Kevin Pina scored Cape Verde's first ever goal. From Cape Verde tying 0-0 with the Spanish national team to proving they can put up a fight to Uruguay, I'm pretty sure they're definitely going to go well past the round of 32 on their first ever World Cup, bro. And shout out to Kevin Pina for scoring the first ever goal for Cabo Verde at a World Cup. Today is day 12 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Egypt beating New Zealand in a 3-1 victory. First, one of New Zealand's defenders scored in the 15th minute, but in the second half, Egypt went from 1-0 down to 3-1 up and eventually won the game, with Mohamed Salah, of all people, assisting the first goal, scoring the second goal, and then there was a third goal by the Egyptian player Trezeguet. Bro, this is Mohamed's second ever World Cup goal at a World Cup since he scored Egypt's only goal in the 2-1 defeat at the 2018 World Cup game against Saudi Arabia. Next up, we have Argentina, or pretty much only Messi, of course, beating the Austrian Painters 2-0. Bro, in the 5 goals that Argentina has scored in this World Cup, literally all 5 of them has been scored by the same person, Lionel Messi, who became the World Cup's top scorer after scoring the first goal in this match. And that is pretty crazy. Now, fun fact, I actually paid to watch the Argentina versus Austria game at my school. And I actually saw Messi kind of miss a penalty in the earliest minutes of the game. But then he came back and scored for Austria. Yeah, the Austrian Painters, they're not winning against Argentina. But we need other Argentine players to score. And finally, bro, I hate this. They delayed the game just because of weather, thunderstorm stuff. So I'm not going to be able to tell y'all what the scoreline is. Kylian Mbappe scored in the 14th minute, and this was the entire first half that was played. But honestly, I don't even think the U.S. should ever host the World Cup again. Bro, first the Club World Cup with their weather delays, and now this. Today is day 13 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got France effectively beating Iraq 3-0, with 3 goals from both Kylian Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele as a result. Even though the match was delayed due to thunderstorm, it still ended as a 3-0 victory for France with 0 concentration lost. And the other people in the group, Norway right here, they barely won against African giant Senegal by 3-2. See, Holland also scored quite a few goals for himself too in this World Cup so far. And now my bus driver, she's actually Haitian, and she had Senegal as a backup team, but boy did that not go well for her. We also have Algeria effectively eliminating Jordan after winning in a comeback show 2-1 against them. Jordan scored their second ever World Cup goal, you can see here. However, the problem was Algeria scored an equalizer even though Jordan were 1-0 up, and then scored the winner, eventually knocking out Jordan from the World Cup. As you were saying, Ramawak? And also, one thing I'm really hyped up about, and so is iShowSpeed, Portugal and Ronaldo combined, beating Uzbekistan 5-0. But Ronaldo scored 2 World Cup goals again, and now he's the first ever player at a World Cup to score a goal at 6 World Cup tournaments now, and he may as well be in contention now of actually holding up the World Cup trophy. Let's go, bro. Today is day 14 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, I could have talked about this on day 13 very easily. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was just too hyped for Ronaldo's win against Uzbekistan. But England managed to only a draw with Ghana, even though England was the favorite, because the Ghanaian goalkeeper, Benjamin Asare, put up a masterclass of a performance. And then next up, because we got lots of matches, we have Croatia beating Panama 1-0, which basically eliminates them from the World Cup after another 1-goal loss for Panama against Ghana and now Croatia, with the substitute Budimir scoring in the 54th minute. And then third of all, we got Switzerland beating the host Canada 2-1. Now, despite all of this, Canada is actually guaranteed to go through to the knockout stage and the round of 32. While we're on the topic of the third ever match day in the World Cup group stages, the final match day, mind you, Bosnia and Herzegovina managed to beat Qatar 3-1, officially eliminating Qatar from World Cup contentions. And even though Qatar did suffer an own goal from this Al-Brake guy in the 34th minute, Hassan Al-Haidos, one of the highlights for Qatar's national team, did score his goal, 3-1. But come Afif, you never scored in 2 World Cups. But guess what? Brazil, my people, they're on top with 7 points, bro. They beat Scotland 3-0, bro. I predicted that it would be 3-1 for Brazil, but it's even better. 3-0. And Allison kept a clean sheet, bro. Gloria a Deus. We're obviously through to the knockout stage with this one. And finally, last but not least here, we have Morocco, who's in the same group as Brazil and Scotland, beating last place Haiti, who's already been eliminated in the World Cup by 4-2. However, congrats to Mr. Isidore over here, because besides an own goal, he has scored the first World Cup goal ever for his nation since the 1974 edition. The striker that scored the 2 goals for Haiti then, he's already dead. Today is day 15 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Mexico, one of the 3 hosts, beating Czechia 3-0. That was very good, and Ochoa finally made his debut in this World Cup. Well, definitely not his debut. Heck, he's literally about to retire after this. This might have been his last World Cup appearance, but at least he did contribute to Mexico's 3rd goal. Next, we also got South Africa beating South Korea 1-0, and they are going to go to the knockout stage for the first time in their history, bro. They went from being trash against Mexico and barely doing anything against Czechia to making a miraculous win against South Korea. Shout out to this guy for scoring. We also have here a miraculous win for Ecuador because they just beat Germany 2-1. Bro, they failed against Ivory Coast and they couldn't even get a win against Curacao of all teams. And finally, they're as good as they were in the qualifiers to get to this World Cup. And they scored 2 goals to make a comeback and win against Germany, putting them and giving them a chance into the World Cup knockout stages. Speaking of Curacao, you already knew they were going to be out, and Ivory Coast beat them 2-0 because of this Pepe guy. Sounds like a Portugal player that retired, if I do say so myself. But anyways, Curacao had a lot of shots in this game, but they didn't score any. We also have Tunisia being a complete goner, never reaching the knockout stage, not in this World Cup, as Netherlands beat them 3-1, with even Tunisia conceding an own goal in the 3rd minute. And I'm like, bro, you're that bad, Tunisia. Here is also a 1-1 draw between Japan and Sweden. And guess what, guys? Brazil are going to be facing Japan in the round of 32. Now, I'm actually a little scared because I wanted Japan to go far, but if they're going to be meeting Brazil in the round of 32, you bet Japan's going to pull off some dark horse tactics, and my people are in danger, and this is what I fear for. And yeah, that's basically it for day 15. We're getting several players now in the knockout stages, as you can see. Today is day 16 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Turkey barely beating the US for their only win, 3-2. As you can plainly see here, it was tied 2-2 with people like Arda Güler scoring a World Cup goal until almost the last kick of the game when Turkey scored a very late winner to make it 3-2. Now, even though Turkey is still eliminated despite that one win against the US, Australia and Paraguay tied their match in a goalless draw to make it 0-0. And now here, it actually looks like France won the France versus Norway, Mbappe versus Holland debate, even though nor Mbappe, not even Holland, none of them scored, because Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner, he got himself a hat trick Plus, Desiree Douai's added time goal made it 4 goals to Norway's 1 from this random guy I don't even know over here. But it is what it is because Norway still qualified. But then again, Iraq's a goner, as you can plainly see here. AFCON champion Senegal, or rightfully AFCON champion Senegal, beat them in a 5-0 thrashing. They're goners. Sorry, Iraq, you're done. Today is day 17 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, Uruguay has done a masterclass in losing. Spain beat them 1-0, and they're officially out of the World Cup. Both in the 2022 and 2026 World Cup group stages, they were grouped. And honestly, Uruguay did worse this time than the last time. And next up, Cabo Verde just debuted for the first time. And although everyone thought they did not stand a chance, they're officially in the knockout stages on their first try. Like, not even Brazil left the group stages on their debut. This is crazy, bro. And all because of a 0-0 draw against the worst place, Saudi Arabia, in their group. Vosinha, you cooked. And then also right here, Belgium finally realized they had to be good, and they beat New Zealand 5-1. Chris Wood was in the 2010 World Cup, and now the 2026 World Cup, and he hasn't even scored a single World Cup goal. Elijah Just, you are just the scorer. We also have England doing their obligation, beating Panama 2-0. Although, of course, I literally expected them to win by like maybe 10-0. But of course, I guess this isn't the same Panama that England cruised through, beating 6-2 in the 2018 World Cup. It's probably a bit stronger of a Panama, if I do say so myself. And then last but not least, Croatia beat Ghana to ensure that they would also make it to the knockout stages. Bro, England, Croatia, and Ghana, they were all set. Today is day 18 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Portugal with Ronaldo tying with the Colombian team that has James Rodriguez and Luis Diaz. Bro, it's 0-0. Now Ronaldo has a harder team because they're not first place in Group K, they're second place. And also, a benefit for both teams, DR Congo beat Uzbekistan in their first ever World Cup victory. And even though Uzbekistan lost, they got themselves their second ever World Cup goal because of Eldor Shmurdov's goal in the World Cup 10th minute. Also, Algeria managed a draw against the Austrian Painters. The scoreline was 3-3. Mahrez did score a goal, so yeah. Also, we got Argentina beating Jordan comfortably by a 3-1 scoreline. And even though of that, Moussa El Tamari scored Jordan's third ever World Cup goal here against Argentina. They did score once against the Austrian Painters. They scored against Algeria a goal, and now their third ever goal came from Moussa El Tamari. Last but not least though, in the first ever knockout stage match, the round of 32 in this tournament, Canada beat South Africa and eliminated them by a last-minute goal from Steven Eustachio. And despite all of Ronwen Williams' masterclass saves, he couldn't save them from being eliminated. Today is day 19 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, Gloria a Deus, my people of Brazil, they beat Japan 2-1. Bro, I literally heard that some people said that there would be like stories that Japanese people would tell to their children for generations that Japan beat Brazil in such an unforgettable match. But no, bro, they did take the early lead, which was what I was upset about. But then eventually Casemiro equalized from a header. I saw the game from right outside my house in my backyard with my dad and our neighbors. And then in the very last minute of the game, Gabriel Martinelli scored the winner for Brazil, bro. Zion Suzuki did everything to defend against Brazil, but at least he crumbled at the end, bro. Brazil were so dominant with 7 shots on target, at least 2 of them went in. And then also the second of the two matches today, Paraguay actually beats a crumbling Germany 4-3 on penalties after the match in full time was a 1-1 draw. Paraguay did score first actually before the German Kai Havertz actually equalized in the second half of the game, early second half, bro. Paraguay actually managed to beat the four-time World Cup giants 4-3. Bro, in the last two World Cups that Germany played after winning against my people Brazil, they lost in the group stages both times afterwards, and now they lost at the round of 32 to Paraguay, who has not qualified for a World Cup since the 2010. Bro, this is actually a miracle run. Thank you so much, Paraguay, for removing the German pride from this World Cup. I'm Brazilian. I do not need a repeat of 2014. I was only 3, and now my culture and people are stained forever from that, but at least you did what you did to help Paraguay. But man, did Germany fall off. Today is day 20 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Bro, Morocco, you're diabolical for this. Morocco beat the Netherlands 3-2 on penalties after a 1-1 goal in real time, a 1-1 draw. Cody Gakpo was mourning the death of his unborn child who died in his wife's womb. And he was so sad, he could barely play for the Netherlands national team, but he was strong enough to do so and scored the opener in the 72nd minute. But then Morocco equalized, took the game to penalties, and made a diabolical womp moment against the Netherlands, especially Cody Gakpo, bro. Morocco, how could you? On a bit of the brighter note, though, Norway did beat the Ivory Coast 2-1. They went from not even qualifying for the World Cup since 1998 to now winning their first knockout stage in a long time, and now they're going to be in the round of 16 against my people Brazil. All they have to do is lose, and then they'll be fine. And then finally, last but not least today, France beat Sweden 3-0. You already know what this is. This was their obligation, bro. Sweden, even with Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak, they did not stand a chance. Although France could have beat them 10-1 or something. But it was 0-0 for most of the first half until the dictator, Kylian Mbappe, bro. He was literally scoring in the 45th minute right before the end of, the first half. And then the second half, Bradley Barcola scored in the 53rd minute, and then Mbappe scored a brace in the 74th minute, completely eliminating Sweden. But you always knew this was going to happen anyway. Today is day 21 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Mexico winning their first ever World Cup knockout stage game ever by beating Ecuador 2-0. It's the first time a North American side beat a South American side, and Ecuador, they're goners. But I'm really happy for the Mexicans. They hosted the World Cup, and now they're gonna be going to their next knockout stage game in the round of 16, and this is very good news. And so far, still, they have not yet conceded a single goal. That's crazy. Also, next up, we have England barely beating the DR Congo by 2-1. As you can see here, DR Congo, they took a very early lead, if I do say so myself, with someone scoring in the 7th minute. The keeper for DR Congo, who's named Mpasi, he was doing very good against England. However, unfortunately, the trophyful now, Harry Kane, he scored a brace to make sure that England would take the lead and go to the round of 16. Bro, DR Congo were doing so well. Respect to them, and respect to the guy who was standing like a statue for DR Congo in their matches. Finally, last but not least, Belgium, for the second time that I can remember, managed to come back from 2 down to 3-2 up in a soccer match by making a comeback in extra time to beat the country of Senegal 3-2. Now, in 2018, they did the exact same thing, except within 90 minutes against Japan. Japan almost looked like they were going to go to the quarterfinals for their first time, but no, they never won a knockout stage game, and even though they were 2-0 up, Belgium soon equalized, and in the last minutes of the game, they made it 3-2. And in the last minutes of this game, some random Belgian player scored a penalty to win it all. Today is day 22 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got the United States. Even with 10 men, they beat up Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0. Balogun scored a goal right before the end of the first half, and what he got was a red card after the same foul that Lionel Messi did one time, and he didn't get any punishment for it, but Balogun did. But even with 10 men, then some other random guy, he managed to get a goal for himself, and it ended up 2-0. Bro, a American reporter said, "Oh my gosh, I can't even point to Bosnia at the map." And I guess the US helped her, because that joke could have, motivated Bosnia. But no, they actually won and got vengeance for the Italians. We also have right here an obvious win with the Spanish favorites, Spain, beating the Austrian Painters 3-0. The Austrian Painters had a very specific man with the mustache born in the country. They're officially eliminated, bro. And Mikel Oyarzabal, he did get a goal for himself, 2 goals actually, and so did Pedro Porro in the 66th minute, as you can see here. Yeah, Spain were obviously going to go through, and as you all know right here, they're going to be facing Portugal, because Portugal beat Croatia 2-1. Now, at first, it was 1-0 for the evil Witchcraft Croatia, but Witchcraft could not save them, because Portugal, Ronaldo scored a penalty. He scored it to equalize. That was his first ever World Cup knockout goal, mind you. And then Gonçalo Ramos, the striker from probably off the bench, he finished the job after the 90th minute to give Portugal a 2-1 lead. W Portugal. All they gotta do is be better and be just as good to beat Spain like they did in the Nations League final, and they'll be good. Today is day 23 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Over here, we have Switzerland beating the country of Algeria 2-0 because of 2 goals right here. This was late at night, so I didn't really personally get to see the match, so I only woke up and saw the results there. Next up, we have Egypt with Mohamed Salah still there, beating an Australian side 4-1 penalties after a 1-1 draw. Now, an Egyptian scored for Egypt, and an Egyptian scored against Egypt for an own goal, as you can plainly see right here, and it went to penalties. Egypt remained perfect. All their players, including Mohamed Salah, scored their penalties, although the first and last taker for Australia, forgive me, they sold for their country. Last but not least, proof that FIFA is favoritist towards Argentina, as fans believe. Argentina barely beat Cabo Verde 3-2. Cabo Verde came all this way on their debut. They made it to the knockout stage without losing a single match. Usually unheard of for every other country except Cabo Verde, and it's only because of an alleged own goal that Argentina managed to beat Cabo Verde 3-2. Emi Martinez finally looked weak because Cabo Verde managed to score 2 past him, and there weren't really that many shots on target. Bozinha had the performance of his life too, except if he had won, it would have been better, but yeah. Today is day 24 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, in the last round of 32 match, we've got Colombia barely beating Ghana by 1-0. Colombia scored in the 14th minute because of this man called Arias. And they couldn't really score anything else, but they were still dominant in possession and shots on target. They had over 20 total shots and more than 8 on target, but of course only 1 went in. And when it comes to the first match of the round of 16, Morocco, as obviously we all expected, beat the host Canada 3-0. Now, this marks Canada's best World Cup performance, as the last 2 times that they qualified for the World Cup in 1986 and 2022, they only got to the group stage. So they improved a lot from between the time that they were in the World Cup in Qatar and the time now that they're hosting it. But they're out. I have no idea who the 2 players who scored the 3 goals that knocked out Canada. I have no idea who these Moroccan players are that scored the goals. And in the contrary to that, I know exactly who Mbappe is, because France, because of Mbappe, beat the Paraguay underdogs 1-0. They barely won against Paraguay, and Paraguay managed to beat Germany on penalties. This was a very good performance from them. They started the World Cup losing 4-1 to the Yeehaw Americans, and they ended up putting a pretty respectable performance and defense against teams like France and Germany, bro. This is crazy. And you know what this means? In the quarterfinals, France will face Morocco like they did in the 2022 World Cup semifinal, where France finally knocked out Morocco 2-0. But with Morocco probably being stronger, they might be able to beat up France. Today is day 25 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. I have not a people. I have not anyone that I could depend on to win a single World Cup. Norway beat my people of Brazil 2-1. But honestly, my people of Brazil, they played horribly, as if they were planning out their own loss in such a masterclass way. Erling Haaland scored both goals for Norway, and Neymar's last World Cup goal was a penalty in the last minute of the game. I was there, I was watching the whole World Cup match, and it was just horrible because Brazil had so many chances, but they were not attacking so mercilessly. They were so lenient. Also, we have here England beating Mexico 3-2. The belief that Portugal and Mexico would face off in the World Cup final is now officially off because England scored 2 goals within a minute. And then, even though Mexico got a goal back, Harry Kane scored a penalty. And even though Raul Jimenez got another goal back, they could do nothing to get back into the game, bro. It could have been Brazil versus Mexico. It could have been, like, Norway versus Mexico. But I really thought Mexico was going to go through. But instead, it's both of the two teams that I did not want reaching the quarterfinals, bro. Today is day 26 of the FIFA World Cup. First up here in 2026, the first match we have today on July 6th, Spain narrowly beat Portugal 1-0. Now this will likely be Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup, and they just eliminated him, which means he will most likely never win the World Cup now. This was his last time doing it, and he just missed out. Now, Spain were going to be like the toughest opponent, but it was actually a goal after added time started that sent Spain into the quarterfinals of the World Cup, where, of course, they will meet Belgium, since just a few minutes ago, Belgium beat the United States 4-1. It was initially 2-0 and then 2-1 because of a goal from Tillman, but then Belgium scored 2 more in the second half to ensure the US get destroyed in the round of 16. Just like the 2 other hosts, they went from doing very well to losing all in the round of 16. And now, one controversial thing about this match was that the US got Florian Balogun's red card overturned, and he was able to play in this match because, Balogun did the exact same foul Messi did and got away with. Today is day 27 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. First up, we got Argentina, to everyone's hatred, beating the country of Egypt 3-2. Now, Egypt were actually in the lead with 2 goals, and in fact, in between those 2 goals, in like the 58th minute, some random Egyptians scored a goal that got disallowed for a foul that happened 2 minutes before. The referees were very corrupt, and then started the comeback with Christian Romero scoring in the 79th minute, Messi scoring in the 80-somethingth minute, and then Enzo Fernandez during added time scored the late winner. Now, this was extremely upsetting because for almost every team that Argentina's been played, they've been cheating. They've only won the World Cup by like cheating allegations. Sorry about this, guys, but next up, for the last round of 16 match before the quarterfinals, Switzerland beat Colombia 4-3 on penalties after a draw with no goals at all. It was 0-0. Now, both of the keepers probably did like very good jobs, especially Colombia's goalkeeper. However, unfortunately for him, he crumbled during the penalty shootout, which led to Switzerland's advancement and Colombia's elimination, bro. James Rodriguez and Luis Diaz duo is no more in the World Cup. Today is day 28 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. We're starting to get into the World Cup quarterfinals. Here in the first quarterfinal match that happened in this World Cup between France and Morocco, as you can obviously see right here, France beat Morocco 2-0, with the one that you call the dictator scoring in the 60th minute to put France into the lead 1-0, and some other random dude over here also scoring to make it 2-0 at full time for France against Morocco. Now, France were always going to be very dominant with this match, despite FIFA putting in Argentine referees, making the corruption much more visible. Plus, the Moroccan fans finding the hotel in which the French players were sleeping and trying to disturb them in their sleep, France still managed to be so dominant and overcome the situation that now they're the first team in this World Cup to reach the semifinals. And also, this is the exact same scoreline that France used 2-0 against Morocco to defeat and eliminate them in the last World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. So yes, this is very good performance from Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele, Michael Olise, all the teammates at France. Good job to you. And Mbappe, you may as well avenge Cristiano Ronaldo again, winning him an extra World Cup. Well, you're going to do it for him, but yeah, you get the point. As for Morocco, I'm sorry, but corruption doesn't work for you. We already saw that in the AFCON final. Go ahead and book a courtroom to, address the situation legally like you did against Senegal. I don't care. Today is day 29 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. So, in the second of the 4 quarterfinal matches, in which you can obviously tell right here, the favorite Spain beat Belgium 2-1 and eliminated them. And it was actually very hard to do. And for most of the match, it was a 1-1 draw, because even though Fabian Ruiz put Spain up 1-0 in the 30th minute, before halftime came, Belgium equalized because of some random dude in the 41st minute. Charles de Ketelaere, if I'm saying that correctly, I don't know. But then, even though Courtois made some saves, and I don't really believe Lamine Yamal did anything, or maybe I should watch the match just because he didn't get any goals or assists. I mean, eventually, in the 88th minute, Mikel Merino scored the winner for Spain, and after full time, Spain won 2-1. And now this means that Spain will face France in the semifinals of the World Cup to decide who will go to the final. Today is day 30 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. We are done with the quarterfinals. First up, we have over here England narrowly beating the country of Norway and finally eliminating them. Here, 2-1 after extra time. Some random dude opened the scoring for Norway in the 36th minute, but in added time in the first half, Jude Bellingham equalized, and in the second half, everyone tried, but no one scored a goal. And then after extra time started in the 90-something minute, Jude Bellingham was able to score a rebounder past Nyland to make it 2-1 for England, and Holland got substituted. Well, I was finally rooting for Norway even though they beat Brazil, and they got eliminated. But you know what? This was their best World Cup performance of all time, so this is okay. We also have here Argentina beating Switzerland 3-1 after extra time. Both of these last quarterfinal matches went to extra time. Now Alexis McAllister scored to make it 1-0 for Argentina. But then in the 67th minute, Switzerland equalized, and some random dude also got a red card. And then late towards the end of the extra time, both Julian Alvarez and then Lautaro Martinez, who is in Inter Milan, by the way, they both scored to make it 3-1 and effectively eliminating Switzerland. Everyone wanted Argentina to lose, but unfortunately, I don't see how that can happen. Today is day 31 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And over here for the first semi-final match, Spain beat France 2-0. Mikel Oyarzabal got a penalty in the 22nd minute, and he scored it past Mike Maignan, even though he dove the correct way. And Pedro Porro in the 58th minute scored another goal to secure Spain's ticket to the World Cup final. Now, whoever won this match, I want to win them the whole World Cup. So since it's Spain, you better win the FIFA World Cup because I don't want Argentina winning it. England will play against Argentina tomorrow, and if the corruption finally fails, it'll be Spain versus England. But let's see, bro. If Mbappe meets Messi in the third place match, I think Mbappe can cook him now. Today is day 32 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. For the last semi-final match, if it was not already clear from the spoiled Messi meme I put when I started the video in the background, Argentina barely beat England by 2-1. Now for this one, even though Argentina is a certified rigger and cheater in World Cups, this time I actually blame England because after their first goal that they scored against Argentina in the 55th minute, thanks to Mr. Gordon over here, they started only defending. Like, they were scared and they did not want to go ahead and start counterattacking, even though they rightfully should, bro, which led Enzo Fernandez to score a goal from outside the box, and then a head-in by Lautaro Martinez to score a winner past the 90th minute, effectively eliminating a lot of people's last hope in the World Cup and securing Argentina a spot in the final for the second time in a row, bro. The curse of the champions cannot fail me this time, bro. Spain, you better win against Argentina. Don't bottle it like England did. Actually play as if you're going to die if you lose. Oh my gosh. We're going to see France versus England in the third place playoff and Spain versus Argentina in the final. Today is day 33 of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Tomorrow's the final. And here in the third place match, a literal 10-goal thriller that nobody expected. England almost choking, but managing to barely hold on to their lead. England beat France 6-4. Bro, at the end of the first half, England were dominant, scoring 4 goals, and it was 4-0. But then quickly, Mbappe and Bradley Barcola, as you can see here, they all made it 4-3. It's still winning for England, but they were making a quick comeback. However, there were a few more goals for England, 2 more, and then 1 more in the 96th minute of the game with Ousmane Dembele scoring France's 4th goal to make sure that England still win the third place, 6-4. Now, if we're not counting the 1966 World Cup, I think this was England's best performance, like, in recent history. Because, like, they never really, like, went to another World Cup final. They've only been to semifinals. And the only World Cup final they've ever been was the 1966 World Cup, which they hosted and they won. Tomorrow will be the finals. Mbappe's out of the World Cup. What an upset. What a shocker. But yeah, let's see what happens in the final between Spain and Argentina. Spain, you better win. Today was the final day of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And it's safe to say, I got what I wanted, bro. Spain beat Argentina in extra time, 1-0, bro. Spain were always the heavy favorites, and they delivered. They got what the world asked for. Because honestly, everyone hated Argentina because they were rigging matches. In fact, Nico Williams scored in early extra time, and then the referees disallowed the goal. Like, I think Martinez might have been on steroids to become a shell of his former self. A very good shell at that, because he was saving everything inhumanely, bro. Lamine Yamal did a very good free kick, and still Emi Martinez managed to save that, bro. You're not Vozinha. But anyways, in the 106th minute, Ferran Torres shot the ball into the air and then into the goal after Nico Williams did an assist so that the ball would not go out of play. And finally, bro, I wanted Argentina's downfall. I hope Milei's sad, my Argentinian friend, because Argentina's a team of corruption. Death to corruption, we said, and even though it was a hard battle, Spain eventually got it.